Danny Murphy's had a pop. He's attacked Mark Goldbridge. You've got all this influence. You've got all this power. You say all these things, but you didn't play the game. You don't know as much as us. So maybe you should keep your mouth shut a little bit.
Well, Danny Murphy had a pop at Mark Goldbridge, and I tried to find any evidence of this. If there was an audio clip, a video, nothing online. Apparently, the original tweet was deleted by the author. Maybe TalkSport realized that they had messed up. Couldn't find anything, right? But basically, the gist I got from even Mark Goldbridge's tweet is that he called him out, said something about people not knowing what they're talking about because we're ex-professional footballers and we know more than you, etc., etc. And it's almost like, well, actually, do you? Just because you played the game doesn't mean you know more about something. Yes, there's a level of experience that comes with it, but like Terry from the Football Terrace and Sava, who was his guest, the Tottenham Hotspur fan, had a discussion about this on Straight Facts on Football Terrace today, whenever this comes out, basically saying that just because you haven't had experience in something doesn't mean you should not be able to speak about it. He made the points that if you've got a plaster on there, you can still say something about the plastering job just because you don't know, you're uneducated. You can still ask questions and give your thoughts and opinions on something. If we talk about politics all the time when we're not politicians. We talk about the weather when we're not weathermen. We don't look at things like that. We're not out there looking at meteorology and the like. So, but we still have opinions of these things, and it's always like footballers, ex-footballers specifically, when they get their fifis hurt when other people speak out. It could be out of popularity. It could be because they've said something they disagree with. They call them out themselves because they got a grudge because they did something for or against their team when they played many a year ago. Could be a multitude of things. And it's just always got to me where, it's always been a thing that gets me where it's like, why would you be so shitty with an average Joe that's come up through the ranks, that's made something of themselves because they like talking about the sport that they enjoy? I mean, this is what YouTube and Twitter and Instagram and Twitch and all these other things were made for, effectively. Your voice, you to speak up. Now that people have spoken up, they've actually been better than the professionals, the ex-players, and now they want to get annoyed at people because they're bigger and maybe not better, but definitely have more reach than them.
But Mark Goldbridge is not a quote-unquote professional journalist. He's not an ex-pro footballer. And straight away, as soon as he got a job at TalkSport, he had his own show in his own name. How many people get that? Not very many at all. And there is a jealousy. There is a jealousy amongst people.
I'm not here to defend the mank that is Mark Goldbridge, even though some of my first few videos have featured him because he said things that I agree with. And you'll notice not everything that he says I agree with. But it has to be said that there is no denying he has massive influence. He is a huge personality, millions of subs across multiple channels. The man has got his own Rage compilation. As Terry from Football Terrence said, he's got his own talk show on TalkSport. Everyone else is like, Breakfast Morning or The Drive featuring XYZ. He's actually got the Mark Goldbridge show. So it goes to show you can be big and get something huge that maybe someone else believes that they deserve. But you're about to hear him continue on with this line of thought. It's also how the platforms and fans' voices have given everyone else an opinion. Like you look at football channels like Football Terrace, you've got the Big Six. What else is there? You've also got what's the other? The Club, True Geordie and the like. Obviously, he's had some issues in the last couple of years or whatever. But these sorts of channels have all stemmed from just football fans talking as general fans and then ballooning up and blowing up because people have liked what they've said, the personality, the rage, the shenanigans, all these sorts of things, stuff that I maybe don't particularly like, but I get it. Sometimes you need a point of difference to differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack. I get that. But this is why I believe some pundits, not all, maybe not Danny Murphy, but the way it's coming across does seem like it. He's getting mad at Goldbridge, and Goldbridge has a ton of haters. If you go through that Twitter thread, he's got a ton of haters who say Mark Goldbridge talks shit all the time. He knows nothing. Danny Murphy does know more than you. He actually played the game. When we've just discussed, you don't have to have played. You just need to understand things, perhaps. Have some understanding, not really have the experience. The experience helps, of course, but if you understand something at least, you maybe have something to back up your thoughts or your opinions on, some substance behind it. So there is something to be said there. Just because you haven't played the game, just because you haven't actually done that, does not mean that you don't know what you're talking about or you don't have a difference of opinion. And if you disagree with other people or with each other, that's also a good thing, because if we all agreed, there'd be no discussions. We wouldn't have these backwards and forwards beefs now, would we?
I think X, and this is why. Well, I disagree. And the fact that I didn't kick a ball is irrelevant, because if we all had that outlook on life, none of the general public, unless you work there, could challenge the banking system. We could never challenge the police. We could never challenge government. You could never tell the builder to surround your house.
Unless you're in it. You can't have an opinion.
You don't need to be a professional at a particular industry to critique it and criticize it. And fans have always done what we all do on social media. The difference is now we have a platform. And this is what I think irks a lot of people. Now, Danny Murphy's probably rich, but there's a lot of people who have studied journalism, worked in it their whole lives, and they earn a fraction of the money that some of these big YouTube stars, these big social media stars make. And they are bitter and they are jealous and they attack.
He's got a point, Terry. You go to the pub, you meet up at the gym, you at the bus stop, in the workspace, and all these other places, family gatherings. You're always going to talk about sports. I talk about football with my relatives, my cousins. One of them's a Liverpool fan, one of them's a Chelsea fan, uncle's a Chelsea fan, the other one's a Manchester United fan, one of them's an Arsenal fan. So there's a bit of banter between the cousins and the uncles, which is fun. But because people can now do these things, they don't have to be doing it amongst themselves. They can actually broadcast to the world and become popular through there. People start taking focus away from mainstream sources and start moving over to the lesser known independent, shall we say, or the independent sources, the new information source. And I do believe that irks a lot of these ex-professionals, not all of them, and they do have tie-ins as well. You've got like the Sky Sports when Carragher and Neville and the others, they talk with, the likes of AFTV, Redmen, City Extra, and to name some channels out there. I know they've done it though, with the Redmen and that. Like they do interact because there's no hiding it. They have to adapt. If the fan channels are making it big with their discussions, with their post-match and people coming on with their views and whatever, then mainstream media sources, TalkSport, Sky, BT, whoever the hell it is, they need to adapt and do what is happening in the social scene, so they can say, okay, well, this is what's big. We need to change and adapt. And for them, mainstream media to be changing the way they do things to fit in with, the independents, the solo people, the small groups of football fans, that's huge. That's a massive swing. That's how you know you've got them rattled, when they have to change their ways to keep up with you. Now, I'll leave you with this last clip here. If you remember, a few years ago now, Simon Jordan of TalkSport, Talk of the Town, had an issue, I should say, with AFTV, Arsenal Fan TV at the time, saying it was negative and it was hateful and it was just all sorts of bits and pieces, right? And then Robbie Lyle, creator, went to TalkSport and had a backwards and forwards with Simon Jordan with his help from his mate Jim White, because of course it's always a 2v1 when they're on there. As soon as Simon Jordan's under the pump, Jim has to come in and helicopter him out of there and save his ass, because he knows he's going to get it handed to him. So anyways, there was this little exchange, which I thought you would like to hear if you haven't heard it already. And I think it goes to show how some of these professionals or these radio personalities or whatever maybe perceive or think about people like myself, other people online who just want to talk about what they like, their opinions and their thoughts and things on football.
And the sole aim of this platform was to give ordinary fans a voice, because I didn't think that ordinary fans have a voice. Now, we have given ordinary fans a voice. Not only have we given them a voice, we've given them a big voice. That's why you heard me come back at you. Back in the day, you could have said what you said about me and it would have gone unnoticed. Nobody would be able to reply.
That's very true.
You heard me.
Yeah, no,
you heard me. Now, let
me
me finish. Let me finish talking, right? I'm sorry, Simon. Yeah, I do think you look down on the type of fans that come on AFTV. And then it's very hypocritical, because TalkSport allow fans to come on and have their say. And sometimes some of the things the fans say, we don't agree with that either. But it's a fan's opinion. And as I said to you in the video, what gives you more right to have a say on Arsenal than those fans?
If you made it this far through the video, you let me know in the comments. do pundits, ex-professionals or professional pundits, journalists and the like, do they look down upon everyday football fans who have a voice on their respective channels, platforms, whatever? Because it seems that some do maybe take exception to some people out there, especially the big ones, because if you've got a loud voice, they will listen to yours. Whether the information is correct or not, which is a problem sometimes, the loudest voice generally gets heard. So, I don't know, you can let me know in your comments down below.